Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. It is Bruce Jordan, the Michael Jordan of hotels, and I have the whole Modern Hotelier crew with me today. Okay, we got Steve, we got David, we got John. Everybody's ready to rock. Today we're going to be talking about brand management, content production, and how we can get some more content out there. How's everybody doing today?
Dude, we're doing great. We're at High Tech in Charlotte.
Loving it, yeah, loving it.
It feels good to be interviewed instead of doing interviewing.
It's on the other side.
Fantastic. How did everybody get started with their podcast, and what made you come up with the idea to make one of the top podcasts in the hotel industry?
David, you want to take this one?
Yeah, so we were both, so I was advising a cloud-based PMS. Steve was their head of sales. They were trying to get some brand recognition in the US. We had discussions. I said, why don't we do a podcast? I said, I don't want to do it by myself because if I ever leave, I want you to have some continuity. So why don't Steve and I do it? And we just dove in and we built the content that we kind of organized how we wanted to do the podcast. And we just took it from there. And then we were fortunate enough, we had the opportunity to purchase the podcast. And so now we own it and run it and do it the way we want to do it.
Nice. John, what is it like? What are some of the issues that you had in the beginning with the production side of things?
So I don't know if issues is the right word, but like when you're first starting a podcast, these guys did a good job of thinking through everything, what our name is, the strategy is, how that plays out into the content itself, whether that's the format or the content we're making off of that, the clips. I think one thing that we did early on is we kind of just got the basics in place, like our art, our format, that was kind of down. And then from there, we started building, all right, we want to do some clips. We want to utilize all the good content that we're getting. And so then we started branching out into experimenting with clips in different formats and stuff like that. So I think just starting simple.
Nice. Steve, like what are some of the things that you do to make sure the person that you interview is the right fit for the podcast?
I really like thought leaders in the industry, kind of those people who are pushing the envelope, whether that's technology or a different way of thinking, the people that are really helping out the modern hotelier, right? So I think we're looking for those next level people to come on and really share how they're changing the industry.
Nice. Now you guys have been doing this forever now, okay?
Almost 3 years.
Yeah, like what keeps this thing going and the longevity? Like,
well, I think we came up with the original format we had where we did kind of a tribute to Larry King. We asked these kind of, who did you admire growing up? What's a luxury you can't live without? Steve does a great job in finding out where they grew up, their career, and then we get into the industry topics. But what we've done is we've done little things along the way. So now we have a turn table section where the guest gets to ask us a question. John asked the last question, so he's the fly on the wall, so he listens the whole recording and he gets to ask the last question. So we've kind of stayed true, but we've tweaked it just enough where it's still the same podcast, but it's got a little bit more. And we've done the hot topics now. So I think it's consistency. What we were told by some marketing people was, people already like the format, they know it, so don't completely change it. Nice. And we've tried to just stick true to that.
Nice. Speaking of changes, reels, like who came up with the ideas to start repurposing the content and producing reels, and like what are some of the things that you're looking at when you're looking at a great reel to put on your social media?
So making reels, I think when we first started, it was kind of the very beginning of that vertical show. Like when we first started the podcast 3 years ago, that was kind of the very beginning. You started seeing people do that. And so we decided that would be a good way to repurpose our content. And for me, when I'm editing through an episode and I'm looking for something, what I'm looking for is a hook and a payoff. Mm-hmm. So I want something right in the first 5-10 seconds that is that grabs your attention, but I also want there to be value on the other side of it for somebody. So I want somebody that's going to hook something that's going to hook somebody in, and then be able to pay it off with value so that they stick through the full clip. And those could be educational, inspirational. They could be funny. Like David, our best performing clips are funny stories too. So like those are good too. So that's what I'm usually looking for. And I'm usually looking for somebody who's taking a stand on something. Who's like, I think this thing that might be different than what other people think. I think those work the best.
Nice. Nice. What is your best performing channel? Is it YouTube? Is it TikTok? Is it LinkedIn? Is it Facebook, Instagram? What's your best performing channel?
It matters who is on the video. David's Mr. YouTube Shorts. His YouTube Shorts just take off. But I think, a lot of it is LinkedIn. We are on LinkedIn a lot, and I think that's probably where we get most of our engagement. But our YouTube channel is really starting to pick up too. Especially Jon does a great job with shorts. So we kind of use those shorts to drive people to our full episodes. So LinkedIn for now, but YouTube's coming on strong.
A lot of hotel companies, they're looking for a little bit more engagement with their content. Like, what are some of the things that you recommend that they should look into, or maybe actually do to help promote their brand?
Well, one of the things we're going to start exploring this more is not only, video is so strong compared to just pictures, and most hotels just have pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a drastic need for hotels to start embracing video, and then also embracing what's around the hotel, the destination, because all of our episodes, all of our guests talk about the experience, whether it be, wellness, or whether it be a pet-friendly property. But yet, a lot of times hotels just forget to let the guests know what there's this world outside of the hotel.
Yes.
And I think video can capture that and actually help the hotels do a better job of just not only selling their property, but selling the experience of being in that destination.
One of the videos I like to make the first video I like to make when I go into a hotel is actually a things to do video.
Yeah.
So when they're searching for things to do in that town, the hotel video comes up first, and it begins with the hotel, ends with the hotel.
Smart.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's so smart.
I feel like a lot of hoteliers, they just don't take advantage of everything, because they're like, well, this is going to cost this and this is going to cost that. One of my videos, I think it has 10,000 views for one hotel, for my contest for hotel management do's and don'ts. It's the only content for that hotel on YouTube. Only content for that hotel.
Well, and I think people forget too, like when you do that, things are going to change, but that video is going to be there forever. Like, that's going to be searchable by people for years. Like, it's going to pay off.
Absolutely. Now, what are some of the things, like tools, tricks of the trade that you guys use? Like, is there just a list of must-have that you must have to start a podcast?
I'll let Steve.
I don't know if there's a list of
Maybe
must-haves.
maybe text on the tech side.
Yeah, that might be more Jon, what we need there.
Jon, I mean, we would have.
We need Jon. You need a Jon.
We wouldn't have been able to do what we did, I think, as quickly as we did. And, look, we're not top notch, but we did very professional work coming out of the gate. Mm-hmm. We did some practice episodes.
Nice.
Meaning that people didn't really know it, but we weren't going to air them first. And we did some of those just to kind of like learn what we were doing. But yeah, I don't know on the tech side, what do you think?
I think, like, if you're doing a podcast, good audio is a must. You just can't. Yeah. And for me, if you're a company, and even you say you're a tech company, and you can't get good audio right, and you're just using the laptop microphone on the microphone on your laptop or something, it just sounds bad. Like, as a potential buyer, I don't have trust that you can take care of, even though audio might not be your niche. But if you can't handle that, I don't know. Like, I don't think that says good things about you as a tech company. So I just think, like, good audio is a must. And then from there, like, taking the video, people will deal with mediocre video if you have really good audio.
Okay.
And especially because you're going to be using it, there's a whole, most people only listen. So like, focus on your audio, get it good, get it sounding good, sounding professional.
Any microphones that you prefer versus one over other?
There's two that I recommend for people starting out. Both are USB microphones. You don't need anything extra. You just buy the microphone. It comes with the USB cable. The first one, it's budget friendly. It's like $60-$70. It's the Samson Q2U.
I have one of those.
Yep, that's what I recommend.
I'll
say it's like, for people who are not technical, it is dummy proof. Like, you plug it in, you turn it on, there's no drivers, there's nothing, it's good to go. The second one, which is the little bit, if you got a little bit more money, or you want a little bit better quality, or a lot of people care how it looks on video, it looks cooler like everybody else is using, that's the Shure MV7. That's USB microphone as well. So those are my two main recommendations when people ask.
And what's crazy is I actually have both of those.
There you go.
You're doing it right.
I will say my least, this is a hot topic for me, my least favorite microphone is the Blue Yeti.
Okay.
And that's what everybody gets, but nobody knows how to use it. And so everybody who uses it, like you guys have probably sat on calls where they have that microphone and I'm teaching them how to use it. And they probably had it for years or months.
That's been multiple.
That's so funny because I have that microphone too and I never use it. I have like 4 or 5 microphones. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get the good audio like they have, so I got to try things out. Now you guys do like a lot of streaming. Like, what are some of the worst technical issues that you had with streaming, and how did you fix it?
We haven't had
we
many
don't do
technical
yeah.
issues. That's why we got a John. He solves all those issues. But yeah, we haven't really had a guest. I think that we couldn't do anything because of.
There was, in recent memory, there was one that couldn't get on the platform.
Okay.
Yeah.
That will happen every now and again. But we use a thing called Riverside.fm to record audio and video together. And that makes it's not, if you have bad internet or internet dropouts, it's going to still have high quality audio and video. So that kind of overcomes it. But then I think they're right. Like, it is having somebody like me there are issues when I get the files. Sometimes things aren't synced up. Sometimes I have to do some slicing and dicing and moving things around to make it happen. So.
Nice. I think one of the worst issues that I had was actually the buffering wasn't really working too well on their side, not my side. I'm the guest. So I guess it had something with their internet connection. It kept going in and out. So like they just kept dropping off. Dropping off. Yeah, and we just eventually just had to postpone. So
we did have one tech issue. It wasn't really a tech issue, and it was actually at our first high tech when David and I went. I forgot to hit record on a button, so we did the whole interview and we didn't record any of it. Ooh. So it was only video and we had no audio. So to John's point, you need audio.
Nice. Yeah. You hit the record button, right?
I did.
Just checking. What platform do you? There's like so many different platforms out there. There's StreamYard. There's Zoom. There's there was another one I just seen the other day. And I'm like, what is this? I never heard of it. What platforms have you tried, and which one you think works the best for you when it comes to podcasting and streaming?
The one I mentioned, Riverside.fm. That's the one that we use to record. And
what problems did you have with StreamYard, or did you ever try StreamYard?
I never used StreamYard. Zoom, the problems are if you have an internet dropout or you have slow internet connection, it's going to affect the quality of the audio and video. Okay. With Riverside, it doesn't do that. It records to the local device and then uploads it to the cloud, so it mitigates any of that.
Nice. Any other tips or tricks? Like, what are one of the tips and tricks that you can recommend for the audience?
I think if you're looking into getting into a podcast or starting a podcast, I think you just jump in, right? I agree with John. You need the good audio and visual, but I think you got to jump in and dive in and just start podcasting. It's not going to be the best podcast, your first one, but we've learned over time, and I think we've got better over the years. But I think you got to make sure you have your equipment, but just dive in and get to interviewing people.
Nice. We're not taking any questions right now. Just give me 1 minute. We'll be right with you. All right. What about you?
Yeah. So for me, I think it's just be prepared. Know what you want to do. Know what you want to accomplish. And we do a very good job. Steve creates it, but we have a Google Doc with our questions. We look at those questions. We know if we're running too long, we shift it around in the middle of the interview. But we know what we're asking. We know what we want to accomplish with the podcast. And it's either got to be you want to talk about yourself or you want to talk to other people, in my opinion. So it's really, and it can be a combination of the two. We've just focused more on kind of the educational, interviewing people. We'll be doing more stuff that we're doing. But again, I think if you just get prepared, Steve's right, you just jump in, but I think it's also know what you're getting into. And then the biggest tip I would have is just making sure you know how to schedule, because the scheduling was the biggest pain in the ass for us. And so we finally just said, look, we're going to carve out time. Still is, but it's better on the traditional show. But we carve out Friday mornings. and that's it. If somebody can't be interviewed on a Friday morning, then we very rarely deviate from that, because if not, you're recording Tuesday at 8 o'clock and then Thursday at 7 in the morning. We're on the West Coast, John's on the East Coast. So anyway, that's one tip for me, is just get your scheduling down. That was the toughest thing for us, I think.
Nice. You, John?
Yeah, if you're starting a podcast, I think you gotta figure out who you want your audience to be, and then just like make stuff for them. And it's also helpful if you are part of that audience too, because I think so many people they don't think about like, what is the person listening going to get out of this? What value are they getting out of it? One of the things I tell companies is, or anybody doing a podcast, is like, time is valuable. They're spending their time. They're hiring your podcast to fill some of that time. So what problem are you solving? What entertainment value are you providing? Like thinking through those things.
Nice.
Yeah.
Me myself personally, I think everybody should focus on one platform and just build around it. When I first started out with YouTube.
Right.
Right now I have about 325,000 YouTube views, and I have about 3,000 subscribers. And the reason why I focus on YouTube is because I know once I get monetized, I won't have any issues. You know what I mean? So that was like my first goal, is get enough subscribers, get enough views, get enough watch hours to get monetized, because LinkedIn wasn't paying anything.
Right, yeah.
So, it's cool to put like reels and stuff on there, but like my full content, I just said I gotta focus on YouTube. Smart. And everything else will just come to form.
Yeah, smart.
With TikTok, maybe going away, has anybody heard any news of what's gonna happen to TikTok?
That is one platform we haven't utilized. We're on Instagram, but haven't heard any news on the TikTok front.
Yeah, last time I checked, the House voted to they passed a bill saying they're a security threat because they're owned by China,
right?
And where they're gonna try to get rid of it unless they sell it to a U.S. company. Company. So the government can control it. So that's what I heard last for TikTok.
Right.
Maybe some influencers are going to need to move to a new platform soon, I guess. We'll see.
They're going to lose a lot of money, that's for sure. Because I know a lot of influencers that are on there, and they're pretty big, especially in the hotel space. Like they have like 500,000 followers or something like that. So
crazy.
What can you recommend as far as gaining more followers? Is there any type of strategy that you use, or?
You just have to be consistent, right? We do a little bit different strategy than other podcasts. Some podcasts will just put out a lot of content or multiple pieces of content per day. We're a little bit more focused. We focused on one episode per week, and then we focus on releasing just shorts from that episode every week. So in our case, we are, just stay consistent in posting. We do 6 days a week. And I think that's huge. So
nice.
Yeah, I can't tell you any of our secrets because we don't want our competition knowing how we get followers. So I got nothing.
Perfect. And my last and final question is dealing with bad comments. Like, what are some of the things that you do to deal with bad? I got some of the worst comments like in the world. I remember I did it was just a reel where we were talking about inclusion and opportunity. And the only thing I said was that, a lot of people are waking up and seeing that if there's no diversity, there's no opportunity there. They're just going to a company that offers opportunity for people with diverse backgrounds. And I got slammed. These people aren't qualified, and for promotion. I'm like, well, then that means you don't have the opportunity. They're going to go to someplace else. Like, you're pretty much confirming what I'm saying. Like, what are some of the issues that you guys dealt with when it came to?
I honestly, I came across a couple. I was talking about women in hospitality and some of the great things that are happening in that space. And people were like, there were a couple guys that commented like, who is this guy? Somebody said, does this guy have balls? And it's like, I saw it and it's like, I laughed about it. It's like, what are you going to do? I feel like the internet's full of cyber bullies and, people are going to say what they say. And I don't know, you just got to kind of laugh it off and whatever. It's part of the territory, I feel like. But
Yeah.
apparently we got some haters out there.
Every client that I work with that has stuff on YouTube, it's like I gotta warn them up front. Like YouTube comments, worst place on earth. Like people say some of the meanest, rudest, most ignorant stuff in those comments.
And we'll probably come to you for advice because we just really started really focusing on YouTube. So we did have one where somebody commented about the weight of the guest, and we had to pull it down, and it was like, and we just were kind of used to it. Like I just happened to see it as I was looking, and on LinkedIn for the most part, people are professional, and we don't get anything that's, because also, you can hide on YouTube a little better. You can have an alias, where on LinkedIn,
they know
when
who
you
you
post,
are.
you know who you are on LinkedIn.
We'll be at your hotel.
Yeah.
What you say in them comments?
That's funny, man.
I had one comment. They're like, "Oh, this has to be sponsored content." I'm like, "Oh, it's not, but that's awesome that you think it is. It must be pretty good if you think it's sponsored." So thank you for that. But it's funny. It is what it is.
That is too funny. Well, the number one thing with YouTube is like you want to focus on search because a lot of the traffic that I get is either from search or from Google. So your keywords and your tags work so well that you will come up in Google search under videos. So that's one of my secret tips that I like to give out is focus on search in your description and your title and your tags. Make sure they're all syncing so that your content is much more searchable, even the reels, surprisingly.
That's good.
So, cool.
Do you do much with hashtags when you post?
I do. On YouTube, most people recommend that you do no more than 3 hashtags, and I try to make it about the subject or similar to it. So if I'm talking about revenue management, I'll put the hashtags be hotel revenue, or hotel business, hotel industry, hotel management, things of that nature. So people that are actually looking for just revenue management and they follow revenue management, that will come up.
Okay.
Hotel management, that'll come up. So
Okay.
So yeah.
Very nice.
So how can everybody get in touch with you guys?
We're easy to get a hold of. You find us on LinkedIn. We're all pretty active there. themodernhotelier.com is our website. Otherwise, you can go where all your podcasts are found and just search The Modern Hotelier and we'll pop up.
Nice. Well, listen, thank you for being on the show.
Thank
you. I'm glad you guys were able to make it out. And we've been having a lot of fun. And that's our episode for today. Now we can take questions from the audience. This episode was brought to you by the Hotel Revenue Bible, the #1 hotel revenue book that has ever been written. It includes revenue management, digital ads, social media marketing, sales, catering, F&B, and more. Grab your copy today at hotelrevenuebible.com.